Hello and welcome. If this is your first time here, my name is Hannah and today I will be talking about my top 10 favorite thrillers of 2024. I have already posted a video about my top horror books of 2024 and I was actually going to do the thrillers together with horror books, but because I had quite a few horror books on my list, I decided to split it and I will do a separate thriller video, and also I have my favorite fantasy books of 2024 coming up as well. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you press that bell for notifications so you don't miss out on my upcoming videos, and let's get to it. It's getting a little bit late in the day, so I had to move places because I felt like it was getting a little bit too dark for my liking. Without any further ado, let's get to my top 10 thriller books of 2024. So this will be in no particular order, and let's start with Strange Sally Diamond. I picked this up in W.H. Smith because I like the cover. The cover is bright, the cover is eye-catching, and basically it grabbed my attention. And then I turned to the back of the book and I read the synopsis. Sally Diamond cannot understand why what she did was so strange. She was only doing what her father told her to do, to put him out with the rubbish when he died. And basically this is what Sally does. Her father passes away and she puts him in the big furnace that they use to burn rubbish. So Sally Diamond is a middle-aged woman, but because she grew up strictly with her father and her mother, she seems a little bit strange to the rest of the village or the rest of the town. And with her father's passing, there's a lot of interest obviously from the police, from social services, and with all this interest her story kind of gets in papers, and this makes someone from her past to reach out. So Sally finds out about her childhood, Sally finds out about her parents, and the story takes quite a creepy turn. And obviously there's a twist at the end of the book because this is a thriller book, so we have to have a twist. But after reading the first chapter, I was hooked on this book. It read really fast, it was very engaging, the story was flowing. I loved the book and I had really good fun with it. I hope you will give it a go. The next book I want to talk about is No Exit by Taylor Adams, and in this book we follow Darby, I think is her name, that just before Christmas receives a phone call from her family that her mother is gravely ill in hospital. So she's trying to make her way in her car across the states to see and say goodbye to her mother. But it's basically the middle of the winter and there's a big snowstorm, and she gets stranded in the rest stop. So while she's waiting, while she's biding her time in that rest stop with the other strangers, she is all the time she's trying to contact her family. And during one of her trips outside looking for a phone reception, she notices a strange looking van, and something at the back of this van catches her eye. So she's such a brave girl, she starts investigating and she manages to find out what's going on with the van, and the story continues. This is such a fast pace and such a creepy story. This book had me on the edge of my seat. Also, one of my favorite settings, wintertime and isolated setting, and you're stranded with few strangers. This is a brilliant thriller. I have a few other books by Taylor Adams on my list, but I still didn't manage to get to them, but I will in the future because this was a 5-star read for me. And the last chapter, the epilogue, is it's twisty as well, let me tell you that. I love that book. The next book I wanted to talk about is actually a final book in a series and a conclusion to the series. And the book is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. And like I said, it's a final book in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. So if you didn't know, this is a young adult thriller. Regardless of the fact, I still did enjoy this book and the entire series. In book 1, we meet Pip, who, as part of his schoolwork, decides to investigate an old unsolved crime. And she stumbles upon a lot of secrets. She discovers a lot of secrets, a lot of people involved in this crime in many different ways. And this is happening over the entire series of the books. But when we get to book 3, I feel like this is the darkest and the most mature book of the 3 of them. I feel like in the series, as Pip was growing up and was maturing, we also kind of got darker topics in the book. This was really good written. The whole series was really well written. I liked how it flowed. I love the characters. I love the character of Pip and her friends. They're all such a good team. And yeah, definitely a series that I would recommend. And this book especially, one of my favorite books of 2024. I have another book here by Holly Jackson, and this is the reappearance of Rachel Price. And in this book, we follow Belle. She's 18 years old. When she was a baby, her mother disappeared from the car. She was discovered by one of the members of the family and brought up by her dad and the rest of the family. But her mother was never found, neither the body or as a live person. So when Belle is 18 years old, there's a TV show being recorded about the disappearance of Rachel, Belle's mother, and there's a set of interviews with the family members, so we find out about them as well. But suddenly Belle's mom, Rachel, reappears in town, and we kind of go from there. There's a lot of secrets that come out to light. There's obviously a big twist in the book as well. Something that I didn't see coming, and it really took me by surprise. But as a book, again, as a plot, a well-written plot, well-written characters, and the pacing of the book is so fast as well that it really makes it a real page-turner. The next book that I wanted to talk about is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. And I know this book has such mixed reviews, but I personally really enjoyed it, and it is one of my favorite thriller books of 2024. In this book, we have a cast of characters being on this deserted island, or private island actually, and there's a party going on and someone dies. So obviously one of them is the killer, and we kind of have to find out who is the killer and why the crime was committed. I think this was a really good book. It was well written to me. I enjoyed the writing. I had a good fun reading this book. I really enjoyed it, and it had to be in the top 10 thrillers of 2024. The next book I wanted to tell you about is one of my rereads, and this is actually my favorite author, so maybe I'm biased, but I don't think so. I just think it's a damn good book, and this is the second time I was reading it, and I'm talking about The Kingdom by Jon Espo. There is currently a sequel to this book as well, which I haven't read yet, but I'm hoping it's going to be as good as this one. This is a very dark thriller. Think Scandinavian noir. We follow 2 brothers. One of them lives in Norway and the other one emigrated to States to get a university education, and after some time he decides to come back to their hometown and build a massive hotel on the mountain that him and his brother own. And when he comes back, there's a lot of things that come to light, a lot of secrets that are being revealed, and also a lot of very dark secrets from the brother's life. So this is the second time that I was reading it, and it was so much fun for me to reread this book, because even though I knew what was coming, I really enjoyed that dark and heavy atmosphere that was created in this book by Ionesbo. This is happening in winter time in Norway, so there's snow, it's dark. It's just lovely. I love stuff like this, and I always recommend Ionesbo to the people, and I cannot wait to read the sequel to this For Now duology. We'll see if we'll get book 3 at any point. For the next 4 books that I wanted to share with you, I actually haven't got physical copies. I either listened to them or read them on my Kindle, and the first one of those books is Silent Patient by Alex Michaelidis, and this is a psychological, maybe thriller, in which we follow this woman that is a famous painter, and she's married to a very famous photographer. They are both very wealthy. They live in this beautiful house, and one day she kills her husband. She's being held in the hospital while the investigations are going on. She is silent. She doesn't tell anyone what happened. No one is any wiser. And then one day there is a new doctor in the hospital. He is a crime psychologist. He specializes in crime psychology, and she starts to open up to him. This book had me hooked literally from the first few chapters, and it kind of goes back and forth. We get little tidbits of information and finding out. We are building the entire story, but everything gets revealed in the last 30 pages of the book, and the twist was so surprising to me. Because of that, it made the top 10 thriller list in my 2024. The next book I wanted to talk about is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. And in this book we follow Jason. Jason is a married man. He has a son, and one day he comes back from the pub in the evening, and I think someone attacks him in his car, abducts him and asks him a question: are you really happy with your life? And then after that he loses consciousness and wakes up on a gurney surrounded by people in like hazmat suits and stuff like that, and the person that's interviewing him later says to him, welcome back, Jason. But he knows he's never been in this place. He doesn't know these people. So what's going on? So this is a sci-fi thriller, and for me it was so much fun to read this because I like sciences. I like popular sciences. I like reading about physics. I like reading about biology and chemistry and all the good stuff like this. And this, for me, it was kind of like, you know, a bit of a quantum physics, and, you know, just think multiverse and parallel universes, and, you know, a really fast-paced book with a lot of twists and turns, and it was just a fantastic read. I highly recommend it. And then we have The Passengers by John Marrs. I absolutely love this book. In this book, we follow a group of people. I can't remember how many of them, 8, maybe 7, 8, maybe 10. And this is set in maybe not very far away future, where we have self-driving cars and AI is very present, you know, in daily life. And those 8 people start the day, they go to work, they go to whatever appointments they might have, and suddenly someone hijacks the cars that they are in. So they are all set on this course and they're supposed to collide, and at the same time this is being broadcasted to general public, I think, if I remember correctly. This was such a fast-paced book, maybe because also we had the theme of the cars as well, you know, speeding cars, colliding, etc. For me, this book was so engaging and so scary at the same time, because this you know, where we are now, we have AI this and AI that. We have so much AI, and, you know, self-driving cars, maybe not so far in the future we will have them as well. And I think, to me, this is what makes this book and this situation so scary. So definitely one of my favorite books of 2024. I need to get myself a paper copy of this one so I can have it as my shelf trophy. The last book that I wanted to mention in my video is Ask for Andrea, and this is a paranormal thriller. And in this book, we follow 3 women that have one thing in common, and they all have been murdered by one man who was dating them at one point or another. This book, for the first 50%, I would say it was quite slow, because we were following 4 different characters. So we followed the first girl, the second girl, the third girl, and we also followed the villain, the guy. And about 50%, everything started coming together, and there was a situation when they were all in one room, and from that point the whole story picked up pace. And my God, I've read this on my Kindle, and I usually read my Kindle only at work, but for this one, I was reading this at home. I could not put this book down. It was so good. I was literally on the edge of my seat. And that's another book that I need to get a paper copy of. So this is it. This is my favorite thriller books of 2024. Don't forget to check out the other video that I posted recently when I talk about my favorite horror books of 2024. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books. And for now, I thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!